Hello everyone, my name is Marian Guevara. A huge hello and a huge thank you to anyone who is clicking on this video or checking out the channel. Whether you're a new subscriber or not subscriber, or if you're just browsing, thank you very much. Your viewership is always greatly appreciated. So today I'll be doing a book on haul, a video I haven't done in over 2 years. It's strange because these are some of my favorite videos to watch on BookTube. I think you can get a good sense of someone's reading taste, not only from the books that they take in, but the books that they let go. However, I don't really do book unhaul videos because I regularly unhaul my books. The system that I have is that once I get a book from my TBR and I read it, I decide upon finishing it then and there whether to put them on the main shelves or let it go. And because of this, I typically don't have enough books to feature in a book unhaul video. However, I have accumulated enough where I can do so. So I am trying to get these out of the house. So if you are living in the United States and you see anything here that you're interested in, please message me at my Instagram. I'll have it down below and we'll hash out a deal. I let go of these books for stinking cheap, I'll tell you that. In fact, if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have already seen some of these books on my stories. So yeah, I have them in a pile here. They're not arranged in any order. I just have them in one tower and I'll just start pulling them off and showing you. So the first book on the stack here, you would have probably already seen in a previous video of mine. It was my review and discussion video on Outer Dark by Cormac McCarthy. And that is this bind up of The Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. Now I'm not letting this go because I disliked it or anything. Inferno I actually read and studied in high school and I absolutely loved it. I adore it, and I do want to continue on with Purgatorio and Paradiso. It's just that I want to let go of this particular edition. A lot of these books I actually really like. However, I am reaching maximum capacity on these shelves. So I have to make some tough decisions, some sacrifices, and just have to pass them on. And one of them is this bind up. So this is the Everman's Library edition with the Alan Mandelbaum translation. I plan on getting the Bantam Classic mass market paperbacks to replace this. Alan Mandelbaum is also the translator, so it's the same translation. I just want to get in a different edition. So yeah, letting this one go. It does take up quite a bit of space on the shelves. And the thing is, I have a separate space for my mass market paperback, so I'll still be maximizing shelf space. The next 4 books here are all Lovecraft. So I have 2 H.P. Lovecraft and others by Del Rey. We have The Horror in the Museum and Tales of the Cthulhu Mythos. So these are all stories from different authors, either influenced by the Cthulhu Mythos or contributing to the Cthulhu Mythos. And then Horror in the Museum and other stories. These are tales that Lovecraft either edited, co-authored, or even just rewrote. And then I have these 2 Penguin Black Spines. So we have The Thing on the Doorstep and Other Weird Stories, and The Dreams in the Witch House and Other Weird Stories. Now, I'm letting all 4 of these go because I have here in the back the Cropter Press editions, and these are considered to be the definitive Lovecraft editions, so don't need to have all of these. The next book on the stack here, we have The Forgotten Beasts of Eld by Patricia A. McKillop. I adore this book. In fact, it was one of my favorite books of last year. It's just that my friend Matt gifted me the hardcover 50th anniversary edition. So I don't really need to keep this paperback version, so I'll be passing this one along. Next is a recent read of mine, and that is Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. Now, I was hoping that I was going to love this book, that it would be a similar case to my reading experiences with House Moving Castle and Silence of the Lambs. In both of those instances, I had watched the film before reading the book, and I ended up loving both the film and the book. That wasn't it when it came to Shutter Island. I feel that knowing the twist, knowing the ending, actually impaired my enjoyment of this book. Every time we got a new clue or a new bit of information, the twist was just there hanging over my head, and my brain was like, ooh, how is this exactly connected to the ending? How is this exactly connected to the twist? And it was just so annoying. It's not Lahane's fault by any means. It was just me. It was my brain. I know I would have enjoyed this book better if I had not known what the ending was. So yeah, this doesn't have any rereadability factor for me, so I'll be letting this one go. It's a shame because it's my first Lahane, and because of my experience, I'm not really inclined to picking up another Lehane, at least not in the near future. Next, we have a DNF, and that is Freshwater for Flowers by Valerie Perron. This is a work of translated fiction. This was originally written in French, and I got 90-something pages in, and at that point, I was basically forcing myself to continue on. So I just stopped it right there, because I'm at a point in my life where I can't be forcing myself to read 400, 500 pages of a book that I'm not eager to continue on with. I just want to be focusing my attention on books that I am desperate to continue, that I want to voraciously eat up. I just don't have the time anymore. So I decided to let this one go. In fact, I was so done that I just skipped to the ending to see what happened. Like, that's just how unmotivated I was to continue. This is one of those stories where it's an examination of a person's life and their relationships. It's a lot more slow, a lot more subtle, and that's completely fine. I can like a story like that. It's just that by page 90-something, I wasn't feeling on continuing on. That's just how it is. I think this is a good example of the fact that contemporary works are just not for me. They have to be like quirky or weird, similar to, I don't know, Observatory Mansions by Edward Carey, or they have to be experimental with the style of writing. Because if not, I start to lose motivation. The book loses my attention. But once again, not a bad book. In fact, it's been critically acclaimed, just not for me, not at this time of my life. Next, we have The Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. This is the 25th edition. I actually have the Suntop Press version here in the back, so I don't really need to keep this paperback. In fact, similar to The Divine Comedy, I do plan on getting the Hannibal Lecter series in mass market paperback form. Next, we have Anthony Trollope's Can You Forgive Her? Now, this is a chunky book. This is over 800 pages, so I have no problem reading a long book. It's just that, I have to be interested. Now, Can You Forgive Her? I did enjoy my time reading this. However, it's not a classic that has kind of found its way into my heart. It's not like a Collins or a Hardy or a Zola or anything like that. Would I reread this again? Maybe not. I even told myself that I would continue on with the Palisade series, this being the first book, but not really. There are other classics that I kind of want to get to. But as I mentioned, I really enjoyed my time with this. It's just that it didn't have that certain je ne sais quoi for me. But by all means, still a good classic. And I do want to at least try some more Trollope in the future. Next up, we have Mallory by Josh Malerman. This is the sequel to Bird Box. Now, I did feature this in a previous video of mine. It was my most disappointing reads of 2025, so you could probably guess how I feel about this book. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just that I feel that Bird Box was way better. I do like the general beats of the story. I just felt that the latter half was just incredibly rushed. I feel that Malerman was asking me to suspend my belief too many times. There were plot holes and inconsistencies that I couldn't just wave away. I felt that Bird Box was just much more tighter, much more consistent, and much more effective overall. So I'm keeping that one and letting Mallory go. Next, we have The Devil of Nanking by Mo Hader. I enjoyed this. I'm just not going to reread it. And rereadability is an important factor of whether or not I keep or let go a book. Next is The Spellbook of Katrina Van Tassel by Alyssa Palumbo. Now, I'm really intrigued with the character of Ichabod Crane, and this version kind of explores the relationship between him and Katrina. However, it's my fault because apparently in the back here it says that Crane disappears, but I think he disappears and never returns to the narrative, which I didn't really like. I mean, I should have known the focus is going to be on Katrina, but I just didn't think we'll never see Ichabod again. He only shows up like towards the beginning. So yeah, I was just eager because it was a Sleepy Hollow retelling where it's not just, the descendants of these characters, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of disappointed. I let myself down. It wasn't the book's fault necessarily. Next is False Colors by Georgette Heyer. Can't believe I'm letting go of Georgette Heyer. And it's a shame because I really liked the premise of this one. It is about twins, these two twins. One of them, Kid, has returned home. And his mother tells him that his twin brother Evelyn has disappeared, which is bad news because Evelyn was supposed to be meeting his fiance's family. It's a very important meeting and it can't go wrong, but Evelyn's missing. So she basically convinces Kit to take his brother's place. Shenanigans ensue. I don't know, I got more than halfway through and it just wasn't keeping my attention. Like, I wasn't as invested as I know I should have been. I don't know. Maybe I'll try this one again. I'm not sure. This one could be saved. Next is The Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy. Letting this one go because I have the Penguin English Library Edition, the very elusive edition, so I don't need to keep this copy. It's hardback, takes up quite a bit of space on the shelf, but I do recommend this edition. It's probably the easiest, the smoothest hardback I've ever read from. Now this one I am sad to see go, but sacrifices must be made, and that is Shiver by Junji Ito. I own 3 Itos, Shiver, Uzumaki, and Venus in the Blind Spot, and out of the 3 of them, you can consider this one as my least favorite. In fact, this is the one that I reach for the least amount. And looking through this collection, there's only one story that I'm really attached to, and that is The Long Dream. So yeah, I'll be letting this one go. Hopefully it finds a new home. Now the next 2 can be saved, but I'm just going to need some convincing. The first being White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I was really excited on finding this edition. My first mistake, however, was reading the first story. The first one is called A Nasty Business, and I have read quite a bit of classic short stories. However, this is probably the most unstimulating story that I have ever attempted to read. It is about this government official. He's having drinks with his fellow civil servants, and he's talking about his theory on how to, I guess, approach the lower class, the workers. He has a very liberal, humanistic approach, and then his compatriots kind of scoff at him. He's walking home, and he spots one of the men who kind of work under him celebrating a wedding, and he decides to put his theory to the test. And I stopped at the point where he's standing on the street, and he's sort of fantasizing about what's going to happen when he walks in the door. You know, they're going to be so shocked and grateful, yada, 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 and I just assume everything is going to go to pot. It's a work of satire, but by page 22, I had to tap out. And the thing is, it's 85 pages. This first story, that's how much it is. And I'm not going to read through that. I really am not. It's a shame because that first story has turned me off from this entire collection. Even White Nights, which is the story that I wanted to read. I have no inclination to pick this book up. But I don't know, man. Maybe I just need more time to get over it. I'm not sure. And then lastly, we have The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. I know that plenty of people here on BookTube love this one. I just have this feeling that there's going to be a lot of focus on fighting and battles. And if there's one thing that Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne has taught me, is that I'm not really drawn to fantasy where there's heavy emphasis on like war and battles and fighting. I just don't find it really interesting, especially if I'm not connected to the characters. So I don't know. I tried a little bit of it. Maybe I just need to continue on a bit further. I don't know. Should I keep this one? Yeah, just let me know down in the comments. So those are all the books that I am letting go of. Please let me know down in the comments. You know, have you read any of them? Do you think there are any titles here that I should keep and try again? You know, give a second chance. How is your system when it comes to book unhauling? You know, are you like me and kind of unhaul with each book, or do you kind of let them stick around, let it simmer, and then that's when you let them go? So yeah. Thank you all for watching. Like I said, these are one of my favorite videos to watch on BookTube, and I hope you all enjoyed. So yeah, until next time, bye!